Top 10 cryptos. This is NC Hammer Crypto. My name is Neil, keeping technical analysis short and sweet, and always starting off with Bitcoin. We see that it is having its pullback, breaking over this downward trend line, which is more of a bullish formation. If we can get above this previous high at 112, we may start seeing that continuation upwards. However, if we are playing out within this orange pattern I have placed from the previous videos, it may be that push up right here before further retracement to shake out a lot of weak hands and touch off that 200 EMA. We are a little oversold, but it still can continue downwards and potentially test support off this 108. If that breaks and it pushes back underneath, we would expect a little bit of consolidation or a quick push back up to this 108 and then going back up to the previous high. However, breaking that downward trend line is looking very nice and healthy. And if we see some consolidation here and holding above the 108, we may not see a lower low for Bitcoin. Bringing in some smaller coins, CTSI, brought it in the past, getting consolidated, building some pressure and support, holding well above the CM Guppy, just needs to get above the 200 EMA. Looks very, very similar to what we might see with XYO. But bringing in to Spell real quick, getting some support off this upward trend line, and we pretty much need to be pushing up and over this downward trend line before looking for an entry for Spell. IOTX, very nice consolidation, holding high strong support above the 618 Fibonacci retracement, and we are still in consolidation. Even though it broke this upward trend line, it's not really anything to be freaking out if you are in IOTX. We could just see that we are getting some very strong support within the CM Guppy, and we are looking for a good strong push above the 200 EMA. Tornado Cash, my God, I've been talking about this one for months now, and we had this push up over the $11, consolidation, rejection, support off the 200 EMA, got right above the $11, broke the downward wedge, held upward support, picking up volume. RSI is a little bit overbought, so we may see a little bit of a retracement. And if you have not entered Tornado Cash, now is a better time than ever. We had our entry at $7.50. Here we are at $13.69, almost 100% increase just over the past couple months. And it is getting a little bit of rejection. But like I was saying, when we get over $11, it only has one way to go with that continuation upwards. We are at $13. You could see very quickly this being up here at $22, potentially even $32 in the upcoming days if Bitcoin keeps giving more of that bullish potential. You can trade Tornado Cash on MEXC. The reference link is in the description below. Greatly appreciated if you use it, but Tornado Cash has been one of the best coins that I have recommended on this channel. While all the other ones are gaining and losing real quick, Tornado Cash is getting that steady increase in price, and we are currently at around an 81% increase. That's with doing nothing, just putting it right into Tornado. Dogecoin, strong support off 21 like we've been talking about. It's not going much lower than that. If you haven't entered Doge, now is a very good entry point for a quick push up. Still may get a little bit of consolidation, but now is a very good entry. None of this is financial advice. Aerodrome, push up, rejection, back underneath the downward trend line, but it's trying to get and hold above that downward trend line. Did not push through the CM Guppy, so Aerodrome is still looking very healthy and a downward wedge. Only has one way to go up as well. But Aerodrome, definitely don't put a whole bag into it. Take what you can and put it into some of the smaller coins so you can make some potential profit while the other coins are in consolidation. Compound is something that moves quickly, has that retracement and consolidation. But we've seen that we've had 3 waves to gain anywhere from 20 to 40%, while other coins are just consolidating sideways, which brings me over to QNT. But if you haven't entered Compound, take a look at it. It's at its low point and building some support, breaking a downward trend line. RSI is healthy. Volume is decreasing, but we are getting a lot of support on this upward trend line. So just something to keep an eye on. If you have not entered compound, it moves very quickly, so don't miss out on that one. Which brings me over to QNT, longward consolidation. I actually really want to get rid of everything that I placed in here. It makes it very confusing. But getting rid of this 618 retracement is the major retracement that we want to hold support over. We are a little bit oversold, but it's in consolidation. It's not moving down in fast movements. And the RSI, it's trying to stay close to that RSI and hold support off this 0.5 Fibonacci retracement. However, I've said in the past we could see a low as 88, but with a lot of the other coins potentially starting to move upward, if Bitcoin does not crash one more time, we'll start to see this curve upward with the 200 EMA. However, if Bitcoin does crash one more time, we may see that quick retracement like we saw back here in the 22nd of June before that major push upwards towards the previous high. So I know you haven't sold yet, hold on to your bags, but this will go off to around 250 for its first major move up, which in that time there are other coins that can be taking off, such as BNT. BNT still forming in a downward channel as we can see, but holding very nicely within the lines that we have placed here, and we imagine it could be pushing up towards this upward trend line. If it breaks this area, it'll continue upwards. However, if we get a rejection, we have a little bit of support at the 76-cent mark, and we may touch it again and push upwards. If Bitcoin pushes down, we may break downwards towards this 0.5, but immediately push back up within this channel. So if you haven't entered BNT, we got our entry at 36 cents. So definitely keep an eye on it, but once it breaks this downward trend line, that's where you will look for your entry. XCN, downward consolidation right into the area where I was talking about, and we see that it still has a little bit more ways to go. We have a little bit of bullish movement here, but it's nothing to freak out over, as the CM guppy is coming down pretty hard. We could expect Bitcoin to push this down a little bit more. We could even see a flash crash down to 0.002. Highly unlikely, but it is a possibility, as we have seen it in the past. So all those people who have sell stops within this area, they get sold out, and we have a bunch of buyers within this area as well, buying it right back up and seeing a close above this previous low. But currently we are still above that previous low, so if we see it moving into the CM guppy, getting closer to that 200 EMA, we could see a potential touch off this red line, but it is pretty bearish at the moment. However, this was pretty bearish at the moment, started getting red into the CM guppy and immediately pushed up and out of that. With that being said, this is more so the range, roughly 0.009 to 0.01 is the range where we're going to see a lot of pressure, and we really need to break this 0.016 before looking for the next potential area on XCN. XYO, building pressure, upward trend line, it's holding it very well, about to break the downward trend line, has touched the 200 EMA many times, and just needs to break and hold that downward trend line and that 200 EMA, start to push upwards to 0.01793, or I guess 0.016. But everything is looking very healthy. You've had your time to get in on XYO. If you haven't yet, do it, but it's not financial advice. DNT, similar, broke a downward trend line, long consolidation, really testing the patience on the 200 EMA, and once it gets over that 200 EMA, it'll move very quickly towards the upside. First resistance, more or less, the 5.3 cent area, but it could be moving up to 10 cents and beyond very quickly. We are currently less than 3 cents. Its all-time high is 25 cents, and it's given you time to enter. Moving lastly to GRT. Consolidation, trying to build support on the upward trend line. RSI looks healthy. Really, the 200 EMA and the 10 cent mark is what we need to get over before looking at an entry. All references are in the description below. Like and subscribe if you want. Good luck. Have fun with it. I will see you on the next one.